Did you know that in Brazil, 2 men were once found dead on a remote hillside, wearing strange lead masks over their faces? The most chilling part, no signs of a struggle, no injuries at all. Just this one weird note that said, "Be at the agreed place." What does that even mean, right? Protect your face with lead. Await the signal. What exactly were these men waiting for? Who sent this mysterious signal? How on earth did they manage to die in such perfect stillness? It's like they were following some silent order, you know. Get ready, because we're diving deep into one of the most baffling cold cases in history. The lead masks case. August 20th, 1966, felt like just another sunny day in Niterói, Brazil, you know. The sun was shining bright, and everyone was out enjoying the day, right? 66. A seemingly ordinary day in Niterói, Brazil. A young boy was exploring Vintém Hill, a peaceful, unassuming spot, when he stumbled upon something truly bizarre. 2 guys are sprawled out next to each other, both rocking matching suits and waterproof coats, looking super chill and ready for anything that comes their way. What really blew his mind were their faces. Totally covered in these wild, crazy homemade lead masks. Can you even imagine that? They looked like they had just dozed off, but honestly, they were totally out cold. You know, like snoring and everything. The police showed up super fast, totally confused by what they saw. They were like, "What in the world is happening here?" It was really super strange. No blood anywhere, no signs of a struggle, just total calm all around. What could have happened here? It was pristine. Next to the bodies, they found a few odd items: an empty water bottle, 2 towels, and a strange old shoe. What a weird scene, right? That creepy little notebook just had a note saying, "Meet me at our spot." I can't believe it. What's going on? Protect your face with lead. Wait for the signal. No one had a clue what that even meant, right? It was just so mysterious. Investigators were totally convinced about one thing. This was definitely not a random act. It was all super carefully planned out, you know? The men were identified as Manuel Pereira da Cruz and Miguel José Viana, 2 electronics technicians from Rio de Janeiro. Their friends described them as intelligent, a bit quiet, and intensely fascinated by scientific experiments, especially those touching on spiritualism. In the days right before they passed away, they told their families they were heading out on a little trip to grab some supplies for work. It felt so normal, you know. They packed some cash, a few handy tools, and those funky lead masks they whipped up themselves. Sounds like a wild adventure, right? They even checked into this tiny hotel, looking super anxious, and telling the clerk they were in a hurry. But guess what? They never came back. As the investigation continued, a fascinating detail emerged. Manuel and Miguel had been part of a group experimenting with contacting extraterrestrial beings, using homemade radio devices. You got it. They really thought they could get messages from out of this world. Can you believe that? It's like they were hoping for aliens to drop a line or something. This wasn't just a hobby for me. It was something I really believed in and felt passionate about, you know? It was like my heart was in it, totally. Every moment spent on it felt alive, and I just couldn't get enough. It was a part of me, like a fire that kept burning bright, right? Their whole lives were totally centered around this belief, you know? It was everything. It shaped how they lived, loved, and interacted with the world around them, right? So, here is the leading theory. Manuel and Miguel went up Vintém Hill to conduct their ultimate experiment, a ritualistic, perhaps scientific, attempt to make contact. The lead masks, investigators speculated, were intended to protect their eyes from a blinding flash, possibly from an energy source, or perhaps, as they believed, a celestial being. But this is where the story gets even stranger. Toxicology reports found no cause of death, no poison, no radiation, no physical trauma. They simply died. Their bodies told a wild story that left everyone totally speechless and scratching their heads in confusion. Some people suggest they might have ingested a psychedelic substance to reach a higher frequency or altered state of consciousness. Some folks really believe they were just tragic victims of a wild experiment gone totally wrong. It's pretty wild, don't you think? And then there are those who whisper, almost conspiratorially, that the signal they were waiting for actually came. What if all their hard work and careful planning actually paid off in the end? Imagine the excitement and joy they'd feel, right? It would be totally amazing. The lead mask case has sparked tons of wild theories over the years, right? Each one is more intriguing than the last. UFO believers claim the men were attempting communication with aliens, and that an encounter, or even an abduction, might have taken place. You know, people say those masks really help protect us from all kinds of weird stuff out there, right? It's like having a little shield that keeps the germs and nasty stuff at bay. Pretty cool, huh? Skeptics, on the other hand, argue they might have been scammed by a cult or a manipulative spiritualist leader who promised divine contact, leading them to their deaths. Forensic experts have even proposed it could have been a suicide ritual, linked to the idea of reaching enlightenment through electromagnetic means, perhaps a shared delusion. The deeper we went, the crazier and weirder it all became, right? It was like every step just pulled us into a wilder adventure. You won't believe it. That night, folks were totally amazed by these super bright orange lights just hovering over Vintem Hill. It was like something out of a movie, right? So, people were chatting about this massive explosion, right? They said they saw these bright glowing shapes dancing in the clouds. How wild is that? It was like something out of a movie. And when investigators returned to the site weeks later, all the vegetation around where the bodies were found had mysteriously withered. It felt like something totally unreal, like a huge wave of energy just hit the ground, you know? It was electric, like the whole place was buzzing with excitement, right? The notebook, with its simple, chilling instruction, "Await the signal," remains the greatest clue and the greatest mystery. What signal were they truly waiting for? A radio transmission, a divine light, or a call from something entirely not of this world? Whatever it was, it led two men to climb that hill, carefully put on those lead masks to shield their eyes, and wait, faithfully, for something to happen. Maybe it never showed up at all, or maybe, just, maybe, it really did. You know? Like, what if it's been hiding right under our noses this whole time? Because when rescuers finally arrived, both men lay perfectly still, their expressions calm, almost peaceful, as if they had seen something so extraordinary, so profound, that death itself no longer held any fear for them. Their last moments feel like a gentle nudge, reminding us of a truth we often forget. You know, to this day, the lead masker case remains completely unsolved, a profound riddle of science, deep-seated faith, and the vast, unexplained unknown. Two guys set out to find the truth among the stars, but in the end, they discovered a silence that says so much. Maybe, just maybe, somewhere out there, their signal still echoes, waiting for someone brave enough, or perhaps foolish enough, to answer. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into one of history's most enigmatic cases.